So, all right, so here's a real question. So most independent leasing companies that I know all have, at least for the most part, one goal in mind at some point, and that is an exit. Exit, selling their company to finally monetize. There's a lot of that going on right now, and it's natural because
Sure.
anybody that's been in business 20 or 30 years is probably our age, right? Or older.
Yep.
And,
They want to monetize. They want to get some liquidity. Yeah. I mean,
exactly,
and they've been building this their whole life.
Exactly.
It's time.
It's
Yeah.
time, right?
Time.
So here's the question. So how, by outsourcing servicing or entrusting our servicing to Ryan First or anybody else, how can that contribute to the enterprise value of the independent lessor who is making that decision to move to you or not, and yet within 3 to 5 years looking for an exit? Does it help? How do you look at that?
Well, I think you probably ought to ask that question of buyers and have them answer what's most important to them. What are they looking for? And what they're looking for is where's the go button on the machine, right? Anybody that's buying another finance company is asking, so I'm going to add more capital to this, right? That's,
yeah.
I got capital. I'm buying you. I want to grow it. If you were to say to them, well, I'm going to take a whole lot of your capital and I'm going to invest it in the back end. I'm going to build infrastructure. I'm going to build overhead. I'm going to build fixed cost.
Which obviously is going to go against efficiency ratio, which any bank measures itself as.
I think any smart investor is going to look at that and go, excuse me? Come on, you better finish this story because I'm losing interest.
Right.
To me, you've got to put all your efforts into growing because that's what their value is. They're bringing money.
That's exactly correct.
So, you better go deploy it. You better have a machine that can deploy it.
Right.
The worst thing in the world would be to have some investor come along, give you extra capital, and you not be able to deploy it. What are you going to do? You're going to start taking risks you probably shouldn't. You're probably going to start lowering your rates you probably shouldn't. Right? No, to build a system that's going to generate more originations at the right profit.
Without scaling the FTEs.
Why would you, we're a variable cost. Why would you want to go from to build fixed costs? Why would you want, every time you need to grow, if you're going to do servicing yourself, you have to hire people well in advance of you needing them.
Right.
It's one of those. Well, are you going to do that? Are you really going to do that? Or do you want to go to someone where adding 1,000 contracts or even adding 10,000 contracts isn't going to require us to do much more than, as far as hiring more people, yes, I will hire more people, but it's not as massive. It's not as, it's easier for me to do it because of our scale.
Okay.
When you got 70 employees and that's all they think about every day, there's not many companies out there that have 70 employees that are servicing their own portfolio.
Right.
And so it's just that efficiency. It's specialization. It's focus. It's pay attention to your strategic advantage. And so I think it's all about that. And I think someone who is getting ready to sell, you wouldn't want to hire us today and then sell maybe. Right? It's just like, whoa, that's too much change too quickly.
Right.
But my guess is the investor is going to be looking at this going, where are your costs? Right? Where are you spending money? And where are are we spending it in ways in which we can grow this company efficiently?
Right.
And competitively and have it be your strategic advantage.
Right.
But I don't know any investor that would say, yeah, go spend my money on back end when you can have it. When you can have it in other ways. There's other servicers
that's true.
Like Orion that are great. And so it's kind of like, no.
I think I completely agree with that with in talking to a lot of my clients. I think I completely agree with that. And more importantly, the banks that are usually the takeout investors, call them banks in general, that's what they are. 9 times out of 10, your takeout is a bank.
Right.
And a bank needs to deploy assets. they don't need to add more people.
No.
Obviously, that affects efficiency ratio.
And if
You
you're
know
going to
what?
build your own back end, you better be building all the compliance. You better be building all the stuff that comes along with getting SOC audits.